Okay, there we go. All right, welcome back everybody to Coffee and Art in the Morning. I'm Dede. We did our Happy Mail Monday morning Mail video, and now we're going to move on to a couple other things. We're going to work on art cards today because, as I said before I hit record, I am not sure about my schedule today with family situations, but we'll be here doing some art cards for as long as I can. I might be all day. We might be here all day, but I can't plan on it. So I do want to finish, or I've only sketched out and blocked in Angie Bell's hair. Angie Bell is the person I'm doing the June shout out, YouTube shout out. I try to do one portrait a month or something special for as a shout out to a YouTuber. In case of Carla, I made her a journal, but try to do something for the YouTube community at least once a month. And this month I want to draw Angie Bell, my fairy treasure. So we'll get to that sometime soon when I don't have to worry about time. The other thing that I talked about earlier, I don't know if that I showed it on Ustream or not, I mean on recording or not, but I talked about how one of the girls on YouTube mentioned that Bristol works excellent for the watercolor markers. So I'm just going to repeat this real quick. The Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers that Eileen the Enabler Elf gifted me, they're made for watercolor, right? They are watercolor and a marker. It's not just kids markers. These are not your children's markers. they're not cheap, but they're true watercolor pigmented markers. And I don't know that if Steve Mitchell, if y'all don't follow Steve Mitchell on YouTube, he's an excellent watercolorist, excellent watercolor teacher. I'm gonna have to ask him if he's ever used these before. He may have, and I might have missed that video. But he would be one to know how to use these. Um, oh, I did. I picked up the one that matched my nail polish. That's funny. Gee, that's very observant, Sassy Pants. But I want to pick up a darker, two darker ones just to show you. I'm going to take a red and a yellow because it'll show up on camera. But anyway, one of the YouTube gals said it'll work great on Bristol. And so this is Bristol. Now Bristol is smooth like cardstock, but it's not cardstock. It's got some kind of a coating or something on it that makes it so that things don't just soak in as quickly like it would on cardstock. On cardstock, it just soaks right in. But with the Bristol, you really can. Oh, this is pink. I wanted to get red and yellow to make. Yeah, to make a nice orange. No, that is. Is that? No, that's pink. Where's my red? Here it is. Okay, so I'm going to put down the red, and I know I'm a little far away. I'll hold up the camera in a second. I'll zoom in too as we do the art cards. And then here's the yellow, and then I'm going to just blend those two to make a pretty orange. But you can see how it's still blending. It's not soaking right into the paper. If this was cardstock, this wouldn't do this, guys. The cardstock would have already soaked up the watercolor immediately, and you wouldn't have had anything really there to blend. So, yeah, so you can see right there. See how it blends so perfectly? And I know Copics do that, but Copics are alcohol-based markers, and they don't pill a paper like water-based markers do. So yeah. So I just wanted to FYI that for you guys that you can use some Bristol for those watercolor markers, and along with watercolor paper too, right? Okay. So today we're going to do some art cards. And if y'all have not seen, I pull a few, and I try to keep a few just to show. Let me get a couple of the tiny ones. I try to keep a couple just for to show you guys a couple different ones. I got two large ones there and a couple of. Oh, I have a few small ones. I don't make these that many anymore, and I don't send the tiny ones out. So these are the different sizes that I make. Let me move him over just a little. He's my camera focus guy. So I make actually 4 different sizes of art cards. Let me go ahead and zoom in one. It's going to be, I'll even zoom in more. when we start doing details. Okay, so let me get the light brightness. Somehow it's kind of flashed me out. Hang on, guys. Is it focused? Let me make sure we're focused. Okay, I think that's good. All right, so these are the different sizes of art cards I made. Y'all see me make them a whole bunch of times, and the process is the same. So I figured that doing art cards today would be good. So if I did have to just leave, 5-minute notice, if I had to leave, then it's not something you haven't seen me do before. It's not something that you can't just go look at some of my other videos and see the whole process. So I won't leave you hanging as far as what's going to happen, because I do the same process. Thank you, Silver. So I do a postcard size, which is 4x6. And here's a couple 4x6 ones. And these are mixed media collage cards. Okay. So there's the 4x6. This is a 4x4. The size that I make the most for giveaways are the 3x4. Again, these are a little bigger than ATC. Let me get you an ATC so you can see the difference in size. It's one of my old ATCs. Now this one's got rounded corners, but you'll get you'll still get the same thing. So here's the difference in size. Okay, an ATC is 2.5 by 3.5. These are 3x4. So they're just a little bigger than ATC size, but I like this size ever since Project Life cards are this size. So ever since Project Life cards came out this size, I love this size better. So these are some of the ones that I've made that are 3x4, and some of them are older, some of them are more from the newer batch. But just so you can kind of see, these are a few that I've kept, and the rest I've given away. So when you see me do I try to do 8 to 12. I try to do 8 to 12 on a stream at a time. I see how many can fit in here, maybe 10. And I do that how many I do at a time. And then those are the ones that I end up doing giveaways. And I paint the backs and sign the backs and all that. Some of the tiny ones I do are these little 2x2 ones. And I don't really do these very often. You like the extreme weather ones. Sometimes I'll add little people. But these are very tiny. They're like twinchies, I think is what they call a 2-inch little card, twinchies. But I haven't done any of these for a long time. So you can see little people. Just all different. And these are just my personal collection ones here. Yeah, Jean streams at 4, and I think, is she going to do Jean, are you going to do something with your journaling prompt thing? Jean was making a list of journal prompts last week for Gin Oz in Australia, but I'm not sure of what they're doing. They're doing something over there. They're getting in trouble, I know. They're stirring up some trouble over there, but I've only watched Jean's last week. I've only watched her recordings. I wasn't there live, so I missed the chat. But so I'm not sure what Sassy Pants is stirring up over on her channel. All right, so let me set these aside because I want to show you a couple things and this is another thing I have not done for a long time. I used to do more with larger ones. I would do some of my larger mixed media collage, and I turn them into paintings. Most of the ones that I've done that for are large, and I've shown those before. I should have pulled those out, but I'm going to show you some small ones. This is what I did in my break. Trouble, and you're not involved, Terry. So I used to do more, like when I first started streaming, and before that, actually 5-6 years ago, take my collage cards and turn them, or I'm sorry, take my art journal pages, which is basically the same technique and same everything that I'm doing here, but just on a larger art journal size. Like here, let me get that. This journal I eventually want, this is my third journal. I have 3 different ones going on, and I want to do more. This is what I would do. And these are all varnished. This is a varnished book. Now, there's a couple pages in here that are not finished and varnished yet, but this book has all the same, it's the exact same process that you're going to see me do the art cards with. And it's also been varnished, just like my art cards. They're all varnished as well. If y'all have any questions, put them in caps. But I would take, these kind of paintings, or these kind of mixed media collage, paint, collage bits, paint, and I would turn these into paintings, right? I have not done that for quite a long time as far as large paintings are concerned. But I did do a couple small ones this weekend for a break in between my commission portrait work that I worked on this weekend. But I'm just going to do a quick flip. See the shine? All these pages are varnished. Okay. Most of them have titles and themes or, whatever. Those are beautiful. Oh, thanks, Pam. Dede, can you varnish over? You can't. You can varnish over color pencil, not watercolor pencil. And no, you cannot varnish over watercolor. Not unless you seal it with a spray seal. And I don't do any of that. I only varnish over my acrylic collage paintings. There may be a little bit of color pencil, but for the most part, it's all collage and acrylic paint, which will not move with varnish. So anything water soluble that moves with water will move with varnish, right? So, hey, Crocker 2, anybody else popping in on the mist? This one's not done and this one's not varnished. This one's not done and this one's not varnished. Then I have quite a few in different stages. These are not done and not varnished or anything. The varnish does prevent them as long as you let the varnish dry. And I use Delta Ceram Coat. This is the varnish I use. I use this. Now you can probably get some kind of the same thing if you researched it. You can probably get the same thing in big jars at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever. But as little as I do, and it goes such a long way, I just get the Delta Gloss exterior interior varnish. It's about $10 for this 8 ounces, but it lasts a long time. And if you get it at Hobby Lobby or Michael's, you can use a 50%, 50% off coupon and get it for $5, right? $5 or $6, and it lasts a long time. For an art card like this, the pouring out the size of a nickel and smearing it out is all it needs. It does take a little more for a full-on art journal page, but I'm telling you, this lasts a long, long time. Okay, so it makes you want to cut up your Tiffany. Okay, so anyway, what I'm trying to say is the same process that I do in this journal is the same process that I do on my art cards, which I've shown a lot of times. And I try to turn those into, I have done it, I have turned them into paintings. But it's been a long time since I really did those because I'm working on color pencil portraits these days. But during my color pencil portrait weekend that I'm trying to get, I'm working on 4 grandchildren right now for one person once they're 4 grandchildren done. I picked these 2 cards and said, well, you know what, I'm going to take a break because I know, I haven't done any paintings from my cards for a long time. So I just played around. Now, again, these are not really time-consumed projects. I probably spent maybe 30 minutes on each one. I'm just guessing. Okay, so the first one I did, well, I did, and the one, this is the smaller of the two, is this one. So the colors are not necessarily exact. I modify whatever's in here to make it whatever I want. This is just paint. This has got a collage element, and then, painting on it. This is all paint. And again, it's been varnished. Just so you can see how you can use some of your collage art and turn it into some paintings. So, okay, so that one right there is, I think it's 5 by 7. Let me get I shouldn't have picked up my see-through ruler. That's always a problem when you're trying to. Okay, yeah, 5 by 7. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, and what I used is, give y'all another secret tip. It's nothing secret. I tell y'all everything. But at Hobby Lobby, I don't know that they have them all the time, but occasionally they have stacks of mat board that are like, I think they're like off cast from cutting mats for framing, and they will bundle them up and sell a big stack of them. Thank you, Pam. They will sell a big stack of mat board. I think I paid $4, $5 for all this, and there was probably maybe about that much more. I've used some, and you can get this size and you don't know what colors you're going to get. If they're wrapped up, you can't see what all kind of colors you can get. But I can tell you this: it doesn't really matter what colors you get if you use the back. So these mat boards make excellent little paintings. That's what this is. Okay, it's on this mat board. So if you just want some cheap little, now these are, I'm sure, acid free. They're the same matting that they use to mat their pictures, right? I also have a big stack of 12 by 12 and a big stack of 8.5 by 11 or 8 by 10. I can't remember, but the stacks of them are only, $4, $5, $6. Okay. And usually in Hobby Lobby, that's where I buy them. In Hobby Lobby, they're back at the frame section on a back, the one of the like. Let me show you what I mean. Like if you go to this, like back here's the framing department, and then they have the rows, the aisles. Well, on the end aisles, right here, the end caps in the back of the store, facing this way, like here's the back of the store. Right back in here is where I have found them. Now, if they don't have them here, you could always ask them, do you have any cast off mat board? And they may have bundles of it, or they just may have it in the trash, But that's where I find it. Here's the framing department, and these end caps right in here, right there. That's where I found them, bundled. Now, I haven't looked for a few weeks, so I've got plenty. So I don't go researching it. I don't look for it every time I'm there because I've got a stack of 5 by 7, a stack of 8 by 10, and a stack of 12 by 12 around here somewhere. These were right handy. But you can also use this side for other projects too. Some are textured, like that's a tweed texture. They got all kinds of colors, textures, but they're wrapped up in cellophane. You can't see what you get. But again, I buy it for this. This is why I buy it, right? So just a little FYI there. So I did that one on a card. This one I just did on a cardstock. This one is 8 by 10, and it's just on cardstock. But again, it will, it by the time you varnish it and everything, it's a good, it's sturdy. It's not like a flimsy little sheet of paper, right? So this is the other one that I did. Again, I modify it to fix it how I wanted the water to splash up further. I put more detail in that, but I changed it up. I put instead of having the planets or the stars like around the mountain, I made them coming around the mountain with a couple reflections right there. So yeah, so this was my inspiration. This was my card. This is the ones like I send out. I don't sell these, right? Um, this is a wing. This is a wing from something off of a bird in a calendar or something. A piece of a watch. Some torn up bit of probably somebody's dress out of a fashion magazine. Some kind of dress fabric that I turned into a mountain. And the rest is then you got paint, right? There's paint, and I drew my own watch hands there. Hey, Julie, I know her last name's not Topaz. Resourceful, your daughter makes you. No, she wouldn't make me throw that. The only thing she really made me throw out is stuff like 20-year-old internet printouts and files and stuff like that. Okay, so anyway, so this was the painting that I did. This is all acrylic paint. Now here, this kind of reminded me of an iceberg, but it didn't really have the crackling look that I wanted. So I added my own like sketchy, crackly look. Can you see that to make it look more like ice? Because I wanted this to look like an iceberg. So then this is just all paint. It's all acrylic paint. All of it. It's all paint. I painted some sort of wings, but I also kind of almost wanted to look like claw things coming over the edge. Like I just wanted that to be less feathers, more, I don't want to say claw, but yeah, kind of. Painted a little thing here. I painted, this is all paint. All paint. No collage. Okay? So I just wanted you to see that you can take your mixed media collage cards if you're, like Sherry Shabs. She did some of the ones she sent us. She could take that and turn it into a painting. Now, I'm not saying that everybody's going to be able to do one in 30 minutes like I did, but I'm used to the whole acrylic, I'm used to it. I'm used to blending, I'm used to color matching, I'm used to painting. So, just because I can do one in 30 minutes to an hour, maybe this one might have taken me 45 and this one might have taken me 30. People like to know how long it takes you. I don't know why. But, I think it was that Picasso was asked, how long does it take you to do a painting? And he said 40 years. One day to do a painting and 39 years of experience. So it's not like, you're going to be able to pick up your acrylic paints and do this in 30 minutes. No matter how much I tell you how I do it, there's a lot of years of, experience behind the whole thing. Hobby Lobby's having 30% off Americana acrylic paints. That's good to know, Iffy. Thank you, because I do need to restock. And also, all this paints, it's all done with just Americana craft paint. It's all Americana craft paint. Now, when I did more on canvas boards, I don't really particularly like working on canvas itself. But when I work on canvas boards, I was using more, what do you call it? Heavy body, professional artist grade acrylic paints. And if you use that and you swear by it, don't email me. Use it. If you want to use I've got tons of it. I got every kind and every brand, and I just grabbed a handful out of the drawer. If you're using, that, fine. But here's my thing. Most of what I'm doing is small these days. I'm not doing full-on huge paintings. The other thing is I seal them all with my gloss varnish. They're all sealed. They're not going to fade. They're not going to, nothing's going to happen to them. They're protected. So I just use that. I love my Americana. So I'm just saying. Yes, and I can match, I looked at this and matched those colors. Although on this one, I wanted it more turquoise. This one had more blue to it, more slate blue. I wanted it more turquoise, so I changed the color up. And I didn't copy it exactly. I added more, lightning. I added a planet here. I made my nice big swirl with the glow dots here bigger. I made it, I did different, but this is my inspiration. So I just wanted you to see that you can use your little mixed media stuff, whether even if it's just in an art journal. If you have an art journal page that you really love, try to replicate it or at least pick your major elements out of it and make you a painting out of it. Okay, so that's what I did with these. So I just wanted to share that with you, that you can take that and turn it into something else. And again, you don't have to. I like the feathers, but they were kind of flat looking to me. The feathers were kind of flat, so I made them look more like almost um, like if you were collecting teeth. I mean, like claws. You know how, okay, I'll give you a perfect example. You know how the Native American Eskimos in Alaska will collect make necklaces out of the whale teeth and because they're the only ones allowed to do that. The ones, the indigenous Alaskan people, you know, to, to have, anyway, to keep the parts, keep so that's what I wanted it to look like. That's what I wanted that to look like. Either claws or some kind of teeth. I'll leave it to your imagination, to whatever you want. But I didn't want it flat because the feathers looked really flat to me, so I turned them into this. Okay? Like birds hanging on. That could be too. So, anyway, I might play with some more of my cards to do that. I have photographs of all the cards I've sent out, all the ones that I've given away. So if I want to use any of those for inspiration to turn into a painting, either 8 by 10 or a 5 by 7, for me, it depends on what the image is, how much space I want to have to work with, right? So I just wanted to share that with you. It looks like claws, yeah. Okay, so there's that I wanted to show. And I'll try to keep these together because people are going to ask. And I'll say, well, let me see that again. Well, I want to keep them. I'll have to, you know, washi tape them together or something so that you can see that. All right. So now what we want to do is let me get some tape, some cardstock. And the cardstock I use, I'll pick out whatever. This one feels like it's 60 weight. Sometimes I'll use 90. I'll use whatever. This is pretty thin. It's not as thin as copy paper, but it's the kind of cardstock you would run through your machine, your printer, right? And they will curl a little bit, but I don't mind that. If you want to work on some cardstock, you want no curling while you're working, glue two together. This is what I would do. I'll go ahead. Well, yeah, I guess I will do that so I can show it to you. This one's almost empty. I'll take some Eileen's tacky and I'll put quite a bit of glue. I'm heavy on the glue, the paint, all of it. I don't skimp on it, but that's just me. Okay, but don't ever glue something together like that. If you glue two pieces of thinner cardstock together like that, you're going to see those lumps. What you need to do is mash it all out, go all the way to the edge. It's best to put this on a phone book or some, trash paper so you don't get it on your desk. Okay, and then glue two together if you want thicker cardstock. So if you don't have thicker cardstock, just glue a couple together, right? Mash it down really well now. But don't leave it lumpy and bumpy because that'll show through. All right. Watch out, Dede gives you restless heart syndrome. Yeah, we have RAS, restless heart syndrome. make you do something, right? Okay, and it's also best because that's now wet inside. You know, you gotta. I would wait and make sure that's dry before you start playing too much on it. But I'm just going to use these. I'm going to use a thinner, and they will. You'll see them start to curl a little bit when I collage and I matte medium them. But they by the time I get the collage, the paint, the varnish, paint the backs black. They're about the thickness of 3 of these, right? See, let me get the one here. They're quite thick by the time you add all those layers to them. All right, for thicker cardstock use, yeah, you can use any kind of card box, boxes, cereal boxes like Silver said, or, any kind of leftover, cracker boxes or cereal box, whatever. You can use any of it, right? This is just thinner cardstock, but I just picked this up. I don't even know what that is. We tested something on there. I'll just pick up whatever off my shelf. I have shelves of cardstock, and I just happened to pick this up. All right, so what we're going to do is let me get a piece of wax paper. And I don't mind anything getting on my desk, but if you're going to be gluing and painting and matte medium things, I just don't want to have to be getting my arm in paint and stuff. All right, so let's see how many we can fit here. Depends on my, camera most days, where I'm located. I think we're going to do 8. We'll do 8 because that looks like a good number to fit in the camera today with the camera setting I have. And again, it will flash the camera out some while I'm working, but we'll just soldier on. Okay, that's why I have my this is my camera focus guy, that calendar. All right, so I look a little tan, but that I think we'll be able to see what I'm working on. Oh, one other thing, if I haven't shown this group yet, thanks everybody for being here. If I miss saying hello to you, I want to show you my granddaughter who's in Florida with a teen trip. Yes, she did. She caught a shark with her bare hands. I guess it was close to the water and she just reached down and picked it up. So there's my granddaughter holding a shark she just picked up out of the water. And I think they found some line and we're going to go shark fishing too. So, okay, hi Lucia. Anybody else popping in? Anonymous 1343. You have to change your name in your settings, but you can't do it. I got a double one there. You can't do it while you can probably change it while you're here, but it won't keep until you leave, sign out, and come back. According Jean gave the instructions a minute ago. So you can change it in your settings, but you can't do it while you're here. You'll have to leave and come back. Okay? But in the meantime, welcome, Anonymous. I know, right? I know, McCracken. I know. Yeah. All right. So what we're going to do, again, we're making just little art cards like this. They are impromptu, although there are some elements that I like to include in my art just because I like those elements. I like space, time, water, clouds, mist, fog, usually some kind of if not a watch part, some kind of a mechanical something. I don't add too many people. Once in a while I'll find some, add some people occasionally, but for the most part my cards do not have people in them. Or you can imagine that there's people in areas that are just so tiny you can't see them. Okay. I do occasionally add them, but not much, not very often. You may have just said earlier. Okay, good. Good, Muse. Muse. Oh. Yeah, I think it depends on the device too. If you're on your phone, a computer, a tablet, I think it's going to depend on that too, as what you can do in your settings while you're here live. All right, enough chit chat. So the first thing I do is I get some collage elements. just get a stack of stuff here. Some watches. And I have tons of stacks and books and things that I use. I'll buy books on clearance. This is people always ask me where I get my elements. I'll use magazines. I don't use many. I usually have one fashion magazine on hand. Like I might have one Vogue, like the big thick yearly Vogue. I might have one of those on hand for a year. Then I pick through it enough, and I'll throw that away and maybe buy another one. They're so inexpensive, $5, $6. Um, no, Terry, I'll probably just go up to because they'll be 50 cents at Hobby Lobby this week. So, but thank you. Terry was asked if I wanted a link for 99-cent Americana paint, but somebody said that they're half price. I think they're normally $1.19, I think, at Hobby Lobby, and I think they're a dollar maybe 22 or 5 at Michael's. But if they have the sale, so if they're either half price or 30%, I'll just get them there. Yeah. By the time you pay shipping, you have to consider shipping. Okay. So hi, Erica. So what I use, I use magazines. Mostly I use calendars and books that I bought on clearance. You can buy amazing books. Like I've just got some awesome books that are maybe sometimes up to $25, $30 books that are marked down to $3, $5. Coffee table size books. Now, most of the time, those are books that I like especially if it's an art book and I can get it for $3, I'm probably not going to cut that up. But there's a lot of books that are out there, and trust me, guys, they're just going to go in the landfill, or you might as well be using them. I do not feel bad about cutting up a book. If you do not like cutting up books, I have a library. I love my books. I love to read. I love real books. Don't email me. Okay, so magazines, calendars, old books, go to the used books, go to the library sales. We have a library sale here. I just happened to catch it not too long ago. This is a book I found. I'm not going to cut it up because I like it. I've not had a chance to read it or look at it yet. But it's a manga book, and they're read from back to front. And it's High School of the Dead, and it's the whole series. Now, again, it's kind of zombie-ish. If you're not that, it's okay. I'm just showing you a deal, okay? This book was normally $50. My library had sale. I got it for $1. Now, I'm not going to cut this one up because I do want to read it eventually, right? But it is the artwork and the comic in it. I mean, just the artwork. I love, love, love manga, comic book. I love the art of it. Even if the story doesn't appeal to me, I love the art in it. But anyway, I'm just showing you the kind of deals you can get. Okay. Cam will probably want to read that when he comes, knowing him. Okay, so magazine specifics, okay, titles, theme. Like if you're into gardening and you want to make some flower art, whether it's an art card or in an art journal, it's all the same process that I'm going to be showing you guys. If I'm using an art card, the painting one I did, a canvas one. Now canvas one's a little bit different as sand than sand and put a layer of acrylic paint. I don't really use gesso. A lot of people do if they need to sand but anyway, that's another story. I'm not really using canvases or canvas boards anymore. But what I'm trying to say is no matter whether you're doing a small art card or in your art journal, I'm using the same process. The only difference being is if I use water-soluble mediums on the art journal page, I don't varnish. The varnish is going to wet your page, so if you have watercolor or something like that on your page, it will move it. Okay. Books, like for instance, this is a Leonardo da Vinci book that I got probably, and it's got I don't want to show any naked anything, But it's got, you can see how much I've used this book up in Collage. You can see tons of things torn out. I think I got this book for $3 or $4. And but I have a nice big coffee table Da Vinci book too. So, I don't mind using this stuff up in my collage. Uh, Calendars, whether it's the small ones or large ones, like here's one of the jewelry calendar bits. You can see these make awesome. Packer Dye uses jewelry a lot in her collage. Um, what else? I'm not sure if I said everything where I get stuff. Um, oh, I know what I was going to say. Magazines. If you are into gardening, home decorating, science, I had somebody send me astronomy magazines, anything like that, you can get theme wise. All right, themed. Oh, that reminds me. Let me get. And it will get you started. It will get you started on doing the cards that you can then turn into something else if you want. Yeah, any paper thing. Old music, book text, like old books, like Miss Rose sent us those book texts. Um, the vintage, from 18 whatever sheets out of magazine, newspapers and stuff like that. I'm just thinking. And Jean might be sleeping now. If you're still here, Jean was making a list of things to use in art journals, and when I was watching it, maybe you got to it, Jean, and I just missed it. But I was thinking, oh, think of all the collage and paper stuff, Jean. But maybe you weren't thinking along those lines. Maybe you're thinking more about techniques to use. But I was thinking, oh, name off all the papers, because in my my idea generating notebook, my big 3-inch binder, I have all the list of things every kind of paper you could imagine. Yes, and the napkins. Yeah, if you weren't here, were you here, Silver, when we started the napkin journal? This is the napkin. I'll show it again. I'm working on in this day book, which was a 2009 date book that my sister sent me a few years ago. I'm using this for a napkin journal. This is the only page that's done. All the other pages just have napkins on them. Okay. And what I'm going to do with it is use this Enchanted Fairies coloring book, the images out of here, color them, cut them out, and incorporate them into a napkin journal. So I don't use napkins in my art cards. I like my art cards to be flat and varnishable, if you will. But this book is going to be set aside and dedicated just to napkin art journaling. Now, if you want, there's nothing, you can use that, for your art cards, but you got to remember that's texture there. That is textured. It's not flat like this. This is texture. Our napkin journals are textured, and I know it's not going to show up on camera, but you can feel the texture in a napkin journal. Just be aware. You can do napkin cards, because where's that stack I did last week? So last week I showed how you can make ATCs. Now, for me, let me just qualify this. For me, there's a difference between, and we'll get to this in a minute. If you're watching the recorded and you want to see this, go right to the project, just fast forward. For me, there's a difference in like artist trading cards and art cards. Now, my art cards can be ATCs and ATCs can be art cards as far as the techniques. But for me, I keep my art cards in this vein, okay? Whereas my ATCs could have all kinds of stuff on them. Last week, we glued some napkins on some ATCs, and I've already trimmed them down and everything. Let me see, it's upside down. I've trimmed them down just to show you how they look. Remember they curled up last week? They're nice and flat now. Okay, but they are textured, right? They are textured. You would be hard pressed to draw or paint something on this texture and have it, blend and be smooth like you could an art card. But this is the difference between an ATC. Well, you can't see that. Let's get one here. This is the difference in size between my 3x4 cards and an ATC. An ATC is your baseball card, playing card, 2.5 by 3.5 size, whereas my art cards are 3x4. Okay, so just wanted y'all to see that I did do some. I mean, I did finish those bases, these ATC bases with the napkin last week that we did a little quick demo with. Okay. So let me go into my collage elements, and how I do this is very spontaneous, very, it's not like a plan. I know the elements I like, so I look for them. I try to envision little worlds. But as far as, I need a black, sometimes I do pick out certain colors. I need a black color watch I don't do that. It's all kind of spontaneous. And it does take a little bit. I haven't had a phone call yet, so we're still good. But you can see where I've done things like punch out of this book, tear pages out. That's for book text. I've probably picked out the bulk of things out of this one that I'm really going to like to use. But anyway, so I'm just going to go into my collage fodder folders. And if you, let's see, it's getting worse. I have obsessive. Here's the thing, guys. This is what I would tell y'all. If you're watching a show and you're afraid you're going to forget something, I'm sitting here watching shows while I'm working anyway, so I always have Post-it notes handy. But write down notes. If you think you're going to forget something, like the name of the varnish I use or where to get images or whatever, keep some, if not a Post-it note, some kind of an idea generating notebook near you, even if it's just a cheap composition book, guys. You have to write things down. You will forget. Some of the girls have done napkin swaps, Kimberby. I don't know that there's any going on right now. In July, I am going to want to do a color a page in a color book. You cut it up, you glue it on a card to make it thick, unless you want to print out your color book page on cardstock. But it's going to be a 9 cards, 9 ATC size color book card swap. And you will color your pages, you'll cut them up, put them on an ATC. Now remember, these are 3x4. You're going to put them on an ATC, 2.5 by 3.5, and I'll give all the instructions more later. And you will send them to me with a self-addressed stamped envelope so that I can swap them out, and we're going to do a color book ATC swap in July. So that's the only swap I'm going to be doing in the immediate future. All right, so now I'm going to find some elements to make some art cards. So maybe some space. And Janice B. Lilith sent me some astronomy. I just said that a minute ago. Some astronomy magazines. And I just, some of this might be cool to use on some art cards. So that's what I'm going to do. I've just pulled out some images out of some of them. I like to, if at all possible, tear my collage rather than cut it. Now, if you're going to add something small on top, or like you want the rounded top of a watch or clock, you can cut that out. But it's easier to blend with paint a torn edge than it is a cut edge. Nothing wrong with cutting, and sometimes you have to fussy cut something, especially if it's going to be a top layer or something. But if you want to blend with paint, it's better to have it torn. Okay, so I can get a couple things out of here. I think I'll get, let's see here, get 2 out of this one. So this is from an astronomy magazine that Janice sent me. She sent me a stack of them, actually. We're going to use some. Maybe we'll use this little bit of a planet for a third one. So, and I don't save this kind of stuff. Does not get saved. All right, here's some more moon eclipse pictures. Let's just kind of go with, maybe we'll go with the color theme of gray, blue, and I mean, these are my favorite colors to use, guys. I love burnt sienna, yellow ochre, and Payne's gray, or a slate gray, a blue gray. Those are my favorite colors to use. They're like Renaissance colors. I love them. Okay, now that's good right there. That little bit, I might use just this bit. I like that. But most of it's going to get painted out. Or a lot of it will anyway. All right, so if y'all have any questions, put them in caps. So hopefully we're not flashed out or anything. Once I get down to the painting stage, I'll either hold them up here or refocus, because I know the camera does not like white. Okay, so I think let's take these two moons, maybe one and a half of this one. We'll just get some moons going. There's just a little bit of one. Let's just take one, maybe a third one there. Let's go with that, or maybe like that. So you can combine things like that. Maybe we'll have one on a horizon. All my collages are done with Mod Podge and have not found gold matte medium yet. Yeah, I'm not sure what, if you don't have a Michael's, Hobby Lobby, or any kind of craft store, they all, yeah. Well, I don't know, Hobby Lobby sells Liquitex brand. So, yeah. That. The only problem with Mod Podge is it can stick, especially if it's in a journal. Journal pages can stick. If that's my one go-to art supply that I would say I have to have is golden matte medium. Okay, so let's see. Let's go. Here's some different pages from star charts. Here's a smaller one because I'm doing small cards, so you kind of want smaller things. Maybe a little bit of that. Some more planets or some more. Here's another bit of a planet here. I think I'll go on this side. So just play around. You like your golden matte medium too, Lisa? Yeah, put your link, Jean. Or Jen's. Put Jen's link if she's going to be doing the project. Okay, so let's see. Here's another bit of a... Now this is kind of going off my color theme, but I'm liking that. Maybe combine this one with this one. Let's turn it... Let's see. I almost want it to be like it could be a landscape and then that up there. All right, so we got a moon or a planet or some kind of star indication. Thank you again, Janice B. Lilith. Yeah, there she is. Thank you again for those magazines. I'm using them. All right, next, let's find, I want to add some watch bits or watch parts because I love to indicate time or some kind of mechanical something. You can find this in any, a bit of a radio or a bit of a car part or anything like that. It just adds some interest. Oh, here's another bit of moonage. Do I want that in here? Do I want it at all? Let's just, maybe I'll reflect that one. Let's do a reflection. Let's do a reflection like this. Maybe something like that. Due to, sky and water. Any Canadians on here? Yeah, y'all feel free to, arrange your own, swaps and things. I am sending out napkins occasionally on a Happy Mail. Miss Rose sent us all those, Kimmer. Okay, let's see. I think I want this to be like this. Or do I want that to divide that? I think I want it this way. So this is kind of the time consuming part. You want to start an odd support group, and that would be what, Prismacolor Me? What kind of a support group do you want to? Here's one where I have cut it out, like, but I usually like halves of things. I'm almost afraid to ask. I'll go with that. Oh, and then you can take a watch or something like that and have it half planet, half, you know, and paint it. You paint it out. You can paint out whatever you don't want. That's what that's what I do. Is I paint out things that I don't want. So maybe we'll go on an angle like that. It just kind of looks cool. Space like that one could be angled. They all have to be lined up like little soldiers. Oh. Well, I hope I'm inspiring you guys. I try. I try to show you everything I do, talk it all out. And again, I never want to sound like, when I talk about how I use glue, for instance. I use that because it's a good example. When I tell you don't leave it rolled up, smear it out, it's not like I don't think anybody knows how to glue. I'm talking out my process. So I'm talking out what I'm thinking, right? I'm just talking it all out. All right, let's see. Maybe just a little bit of maybe a piece of a watch like this on top of a planet, like that. I'm liking that. Let me just trim that. So see when you can meld things together. Something like that. Here's another bit of a watch part. Let's put that one on the bottom of this planet. Or it could be the top of this one. Or the top of that one. They're all kind of going with this planet theme today. Sometimes I add buildings. Oh, I forgot about this. These are some of the brochures that Pam sent. And see, I love this. This looks like a jellyfish to me, but it's too big for the cards. But I am going to turn this into a jellyfish, probably in one of my art journals. Because look, doesn't that cave? And I don't know if it's the stalactites or the stalagmites. I forget which one goes up and which one goes down. But it looks like a jellyfish, right, guys? Doesn't that look like a jellyfish? That's going to be a jellyfish in my art journal. But it's too big for here. Let's see if there's some other littler bits. Okay, let's take this backwards. Let's just to use some of it. See some of this stuff right here? And it doesn't necessarily have to be something, although in this case, this almost looks like mountain to me. So I'm going to rip this part out, and now we have a mountain and a cave on a landscape. Now we just have to decide which one we want it on. Oh, somebody's ringing the doorbell. I think it's just the lawn people. They just are told to ring the bell so I know they're here. I don't have to answer. All right, so we're good on that. All right, so let's see. I think I want a little landscape down here. And the other thing too is don't be afraid to turn things upside down. Don't be afraid to turn your collage elements upside down or sideways or whatever. Okay, so there's some more bits here. This just looks really cool. I like this cavern. I think I had an art card here. Do I have it here? One of the ones that I kept. It has a cavern in it. Oh, I think it's one of the tiny ones. What's my tiny ones? Where did I put those? One of my little ones here. I believe I remember. Oh, I missed something. I missed it. Rolled off, Pam. It scrolled off. Sorry, I saw it in caps, but it scrolled off. See, look, here's some like little caverns. Yeah, I have you in my ear and my. I mean, I'm in your ear, Terry. So these are some of the twinchies. Is that what they call the 2-inch ones? Twinchies. I think these are 2 inches, maybe 1.5. I don't remember. I don't really make these size anymore. But just so you can see, little bits like that's a little bit of a watch. But I added other things, little people, my own paint, and you know, make your own little worlds, own little worlds. And these are, you can see how little these are. They're very tiny. Just so you can kind of see some. So another one there. Okay. So there's that. So that being said, let's add some more something here. Maybe I don't want that on that. Maybe I want it down here. And don't be afraid to cover things up, paint things over. If you see something and you go, oh man, that's cool, but it's got that on there, well, paint it out. Paint it out if you don't want it there. Okay, I don't like this stark whiteness of that. I think I want some other color. All right, so let's see. I think I've exhausted that cavern. There's another little bit right here that might make a little nice little mountain or something. So we'll tear this out and see what we can do with that little bit. I'm liking that. I'm liking this. Let's go with this one. Let's go with that one. That can go there. Okay. This is very cool. Looks like you just walk right in there, doesn't it? Can you just walk right in there? Or maybe you could walk right into that. Let's go that way. I'm running out of cards. I'm getting them full. And I do like to, not always, but I recommend if you're not sure how to do a little story, if you're not sure how to do some kind of a story on a card, I always tell you just to think of a person, place, and thing, and you'll have a story. Now, I don't always put a person, and by person, I mean anything like that. It could be alive. It could be a robot, okay? But I'm just meaning something like a bird. It could be a butterfly. It could be a person, But if you have a person, place, and a thing, and of course your landscapes don't necessarily have to have a person in it, but that helps you just think of a story. We remember being taught that stalactites are the top because it had a T in it. Oh, that's a good way to remember. Stalactites are at the top because they have a T in it. Good way to remember. Yeah. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Pam. Okay, so let's see what else. Sometimes it is nice to have, now let's see, I got some planets and stars, and this one, planet. I really would like a couple more watch bits, or at least some kind of, I love this one holding the hand holding. I think I'm going to keep this for an art journal page. I like the way the hand is holding. Now, I would probably paint this out, and turn this into, well, you know what? I'll do that I'll just show you when we're painting, when I get the paint out. I'll set that there and show you what I'm going to do with that, even though it's not glued into an art journal yet. I'm just digging through bits of collage fodder. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to say. And I've said it a few times. It's easier to make a story if you start with a white background. It really, to me, it doesn't matter. I can do both. By the time, in an art journal page, you have more room. You have more real estate, right? So you have more, I can play with, like in my this art journal. I'll show you a couple different ones. So this is a little bit, random hodgepodge day. in this one I started out with a lot of scraped paint, stenciling, inks, and whatever in the background, and then working on top of it. So when you have a bigger page like this, you can do that. But when it's small like this, I would just as soon start with a white because I'm going to paint almost all of it anyway. It's almost all going to get blended in with paint because the size, right? Um, so it's just you're I'm almost painting over everything that would be in the background anyway. Whereas in a big art journal like this, you have more room. You have more room to play, right? The other thing that I wanted to, well, there's a couple things. Always keep a good way to practice if you're not sure what to do. Got my fan blew this over when I turned my chair. If you're not sure what to do, you're not sure what to keep, what to play with, or even how to play like this, keep a desk journal. This is my current desk journal. It doesn't actually sit on my desk because it's quite big, but it sits on the shelf right next to my desk. All this is a bunch of 11 by 17 papers folded, or 14, 11, 14, the big copy paper. It's big copy paper folded in half and made into signatures with rubber bands. This is just chipboard. This is just duct tape. Chipboard covered with the scrapbook papers, right? And just turned into a giant rubber band book. This is where, if I have any leftover paint, little collage bits that I think are interesting, but I don't know what to do with them. I'm not making art cards at the moment, but I have this stuff left. I can either throw it in here. I don't want to move all my stuff around here. And I did have the fan is right behind me. If I move my chair, it'll blow everything around. But this is where you can throw in all kinds of paint scrapes and collage bits. And then you might go back and make this into something, right? Or make this into something. So if you just have some place where you just are literally throwing bits of paint or collage, ready that these are fab, you're in your element with the plants, yeah. So it's a place for you to keep your bits, and then maybe you might turn them into something. My leather ones, I gotta get that back on the shelf. You know, I've shown these a whole bunch of times. These are two of my other art journals. Let me just pull one because two of them are holding up a stack of molies. This is the kind of thing where you can just glue in all kinds of bits and then go back and paint them. So it's good practice. All right, so let's get back to here. I think I've got, I did want one more planet or something. I mean, watch this. This is a cool one. It's got a lot of color. This one's got more color in it. So does this. Let's see. Maybe I'll take a bit of this watch that has color and maybe just for the roundness of it. I like that. Maybe that with this planet on top of that. Something like this. Some sun rays or something coming out of it. We'll see. So I'm thinking that. Thanks for everybody that has, coming and going. I know nobody usually can sit here for 3 hours or more. We're already an hour into this. I need to get crack-a-lackin'. I won't finish these cards. Here's a giant watch. And also, if you cut something out, like let's say I cut this. I've already pulled something out of this, but let's just say you cut some watch part out of this. Now this is bigger. You'd have to more use this in, say, your art journal than a card. But just so I want to show you this. This part right here is very good to use in an art journal. The inside, because you can put a whole world in there. A whole world is in that thing. Stars can be up here, planets. You can cut some of that off, paint it out. So, yeah. And then this could be, you can use little bits of it, like that. That's going to make a good cave or some such. Maybe right there. What else? I just need some more elements. I don't have any birds or... Let's throw some jewelry just to show you that. All right, let me find my... I have some stack of jewelry here. We got some jewelry bits. Oh, Lucy in the sky with diamonds. All right, so... Let's see. All right, so look at this. This is a picture of a museum bracelet, Celtic bracelet from the 1st century. Look how cool that is. Thanks, Shabs. So I think we're going to do this. This is a mountain. This is a giant statue or a giant idol on the horizon with the space above it. So there's our landscape. I know it's hard to see right now. And if you can always, don't be afraid to fussy cut. I don't want to say never fussy cut. If it needs to be fussy cutted, do it. But if at all possible, especially backgrounds, try to use torn edges because torn edges will be easier to blend. But there we go. So you can see that. See where we're going? Smell what I'm stepping in? As my daughter likes to say. Well, and I gotta say, guys, the more you play with collage bits, the more you turn them all different ways, you'll get more ideas. Trust me. But most people start with the attitude, I can't do that. I can't do that. I don't have any imagination. No, not meaning you, sassy pants. But, oh, I'll never be able to do that. I can't do that. So they don't even try, right? And if you don't try, you won't know if you can or can't do it because you've never tried. Or you might have tried once. No, mine doesn't, it doesn't look like that. It just, no, so I can't do it. So I'm not going to do it ever again. Just saying. Okay, so I got me another little statue guy. Let's put him over here. All right, let me do a quick little peruse through some jewelry here because we're going to run out of time. All right, look at this necklace. There's a necklace, and I don't know that I kind of like that one too. Let's see if I can keep one and the other. Oops, come back here. I'm not sure because I kind of like this too. But you could use, like for instance, imagine a watch in here. Let's see. Let's just, that would be a cool look on a page. Or planets or whatever. Here's an Egyptian ring. I keep dropping everything on my cards. Look at that Egyptian signet ring. Just this even would be a cool, let me see. This would be a cool cave. Element. Like that's the inside of a cave. It's a little big for this card. Maybe in and of itself it would be okay. But all right, so I wanted to show some more jewels. Let's see, what other jewels do I have in here? Okay, this little drop of jewel right here, if you cut that out in a circle, that would make a great planet. It's already got the shine on there for you. What else? Anyway, I think you can kind of get the idea. So we got this little statue and we got this little guy. Could go a lot of ways. Could go this way. See? Prisma, I mean. I'm not going to repeat that, but that's a good one. All right, so let's see. Do I want him? Do I want that? Do I want the red? Do I want the plain? I'm kind of liking just that. That's getting too, it won't fit in there. I'm trying to squeeze in too many things. All right, so let me just, all right, I'm going to stop. We'll start gluing. We can always add more. You can always add more stuff when you're done gluing. All right, let me move this over. Got a stack of stuff. All right, so what I do, let me get my, oh no, the fan. I turned my chair and didn't block the fan. Hang on, guys. Let's see. This one blew away. I don't even remember what all I had over here. I had another planet. Oh, here it is. Okay, so those are good. I got to remember if I get up to keep my chair blocking my fan. All right, so I got this palette here. I'm just going to pull up, and I know everybody goes, oh, I love those acrylic skins. I have yet to really find a way to use these. I have a bag full of them. They are cool, and they peel right off of the plastic, because these are just, coffee lids that I use for palettes, and they'll peel off pretty easily, and you got some cool paint skins. I just never really found a thing of usefulness for them, right? But they do look cool, especially on the back side where they're shiny. I mean, they're little cool collage bits. I just don't use paint skins in my collage, but hey, cool stuff. Cool stuff. All right, so I'm just cleaning this off so I have some place to pour some matte medium on. All right, here we go. We're going to start gluing. Oh, I got to get my paint glue brush without the fan blowing. All right. Get a kind of smaller one. So I have a whole bunch of glue brushes. They're just brushes they're the only brushes that I keep standing in water. Yeah, Denise would have me throw them away, Lindsay. I have one bag of them. One bag. Remember how many stacks of these I had? I mean, I probably had 6 feet. No exaggeration. Probably had 6 feet of these. I have thrown a lot of them away. But this is what I use for my paint palettes and my varnish, my matte medium, dishwash. This is golden matte medium in a dishwashing dish soap bottle so that it squirts out real easy. The glue brushes are the only brushes I keep in water. They're crusty, rusty, and yucky, but they're just for gluing. So what I'll do is I'm just going to squeeze out. I might have to fill my bottle back up again. I just pour out as much as I want. Get it down. Whoop. Pour out. See, I got to refill it. Pour out what I want. And I'm just going to take one clean card. This is a tip. If you don't want to move your stuff off your card, you got to kind of lay it out like you want. Jean's heat gun could do a number on those paint skins. It'd probably just bubble up, Lynn. All right, so I'm going to just kind of move these up. And I'm going to work on one at a time. I got some right there. I don't want to glue the card to the plastic there. And I'm going to do one at a time. And so what you want to do, I think I want to do this one first, and I don't want to glue it to the thing. If you take your card and leave it there, sitting there, and then work on a clean card, then you can just kind of transfer everything over without losing where you got things laid out. Now, these are not that detailed, but sometimes when you're doing I've done posters. Let me not move my chair, but this poster is probably 30 by 24 by 30. Now, you're not going to obviously be able to see the whole thing when I stick it under the camera. But if you have something laid out exactly where you want it, then see, this is big, right? And it's going to flash out. But you can see if you have a lot of elements laid out on something, you don't want to lose track of where they are. All right, so let me get to glue in here, guys. Let me get to glue. All right, so what I do is I put the matte medium on the card, and I always put matte medium on the back too. You wouldn't think it would make a difference, but it does. And then I put it over the top too here in a minute. But while it's wet, you can move, you can shift things around. See how I'm shifting that around? Because I put a generous amount on there. So they'll shift around a little bit while you're playing with it. Now, if you are one that does not like things stuck on your hands, trust me, matte medium is not the easiest thing to get off your hand. It takes fingernail polish and or a scruffy to get it off your hand. So I usually try to keep my baby wipes. That's my other essential tool, Huggies baby wipes. I try to kind of keep my matte medium off my hands as much as I can while I'm doing this because it is hard to get off. All right, so I've got it all on there, and I'll just take a card. Do I have one here? No, I don't have one here. I'll take a gift card or whatever. Let's make sure it's not too crunchy on the edge. And just kind of scrape it down a little if need be. Just kind of smooth it out, right? And that one's done for the gluing right now. Now, it doesn't mean I can't still add more stuff to it. A Brillo pad would probably be bad on your skin. The Craft Scruffy, where's mine's right here. If you've ever had the Craft Scruffy, I think it's by Ranger. Am I right, Jean? The Craft Scruffy, Scrubby. It's almost like a pumicey stuff. It's light as a feather. It's like no weight to this at all. And it never wears out. And you just wet it and you take it to your hand. And oh my gosh, this thing's a miracle worker. And people told me about it for years. And I kept saying, oh, I'll get it. I'll get it one of these days. And this does not hurt your skin. A Brillo pad's going to take the skin off of you. This does not. Look, it's not even doing anything. But it will, if you put it under water and rub off the glue will come right back off. I know, isn't it, Jean? It's the best thing ever. So I finally broke down. It was in clearance one day at Michael's. I said, well, everybody's always telling me to get it. It's only like $5. It's not like they're expensive. But I always wanted to spend my $5 on something else, right? I'm going to keep gluing while I'm talking. I always want to spend that $5 on something else, but I think it was in, I don't know if it was like $2 or $2.50 or something. Anyway, it was on clearance. So I said, well, I'm going to break down and get one of those. Let me move that up a little. And I did, and I've never regretted getting one. Okay, so I'm just going to take my card and just kind of smooth it out a little. Got to be a little gentle with the smoothing because it's real slick and it will move your elements. So you want to, be careful when you push down. So, and the matte medium will dry clear, right? So let me put this on. I'll just keep moving them to the side and wiping my hands off in between. Yeah, but it's still, even with the Craft Scrubby and the matte medium combined, will ruin your polish. You almost, I don't mind just, the polish is like, I've got, that's no big deal. I don't mind just taking off the polish and repolishing. But, yeah. So then I put a layer on the top. So really it's 3 layers of matte medium. I put it on the card, the back of the element, and over the top. Okay? And again, you'll see when I go to do the painting part, if you've not seen me do this a million times, it's because of the matte medium that's on top of the images that I'm able to move the paint so well. Okay? So let me just keep crack-a-lacking here, because otherwise I'll have to get my whip app out on myself. I haven't shown the whip app in a while. Oh, and speaking of apps, rabbit trail. Where's my whip app? It's called Pocket Whip. Trust me, there's nothing funner than using that in Walmart. Well, no, there is one funner one. Funner one. There's one funner one, and that's the Pocket Sitcom. The Pocket Sitcom looks like that, and the free part of it, you have there's a lot of things you can do for free, but my favorite is the crickets. Do that when you're standing in line behind, a bunch of slow people. That's nothing funner. Okay, but the other app, I finally let me. All right, here's what I want to do. I don't want to interrupt this, but I want to show you the Jazza because I now it's loaded up on my phone. The Jazza Arty Games. Wait, let me get it to unflash. Hang on. I want to show y'all that if we have time. I referenced it the other day. I don't know if any of y'all went to and checked, peruse the awesomeness and the creativity that is the Jazza Arty Games. But I want to show y'all that. It's so fun. And I did some things out of it. We'll see how much time I have. I have all day as long as I don't get family calls and they're coming down and whatnot, so I can't plan anything today. The planning is the problem today. Okay, so let's go ahead. Otherwise, we'll be here till Jean comes on at 4. No, I don't know. We'll be here that. I usually try to wrap it up at least by 3, but in 2 or 3 or 4 different shows. Isn't Jazza? Yeah. So I doubt if he watches this stream, but Jazza, if you watch this, the girls are saying you're a doll face. He's cute. He's little family and his little boy. Yeah. He's got he does a vlog and a drawing show. Okay. So there we go. We'll show that again. I mean, I'll show that app and some of the things that I doodled. All I did was play with it a little bit and doodle, but it's fun. I'm telling you. Okay, so there's another one. Just setting it aside. And I probably will not paint all these today. I'll pick maybe my top 4 or 5. We'll see how it goes, right? Oh, this one's got to go on first. You got to kind of go from front to back because you're layering on top. That's the thing with collage. You do have to go from back to front. This one's next. So you can make your little, and don't be serious about it. I mean, you have fun when you do this. If it doesn't turn out, I mean, what? It's some card stock and some magazine torn out things, right? So, have a little fun. And there's excess on your card when you scrape. Just put that over on the next card and use, so you're not wasting any of it. All right? When it builds up. So let's go to this next one. Doing it kind of quick. Let me get these done. Whoops. So we can move on to the painting. If you have any questions, Terry's blushing now. If you have any questions, little cats, well, he is fun. He's fun. He's a young man. He's probably in his 20s. I mean, I don't know how old he is exactly, but he's cute. All right. And if you have anything hanging over the edge, just after it dries or after you hit it with the heat gun, then just cut that part off. Do I want this kind of, I want it almost like a horizon thing here. Do I want this? Yeah, I guess I do want it almost like a mountain there. Now my wax paper is starting to get a little gunky. So, got to be careful you're not gluing your cards down. I don't care if things get on the back. I end up painting the back of my cards black. Yeah, and you can paint over it. That's right, Shabs. All right, where's my, I think I got enough left in here for one more. And then I just fill it back up. All right, This one has this in the very, very back. And then this. Let's see, I think I want it to go this way. But it does make a difference. You wouldn't think so, but it does make a difference if you put the matte medium on the back, especially if it's a thin magazine page. It does make it not wrinkle. I'm just saying. It does. You wouldn't think it would matter. You'd think you have a big wad of matte medium on here that if you slapped an image on it, hey, it's going to stick. It'll stick, but it'll wrinkle, especially thin magazine stuff. It just makes a difference. I don't know why, but it does. All right, there we go. We got them all glued down. Now I'm going to go ahead and put my glue brush and matte medium away. I may end up gluing something else down. I could just, slap a little bit of tacky glue on there. But you have to remember that the reason the paint moves, I'm trying to see, it's really crusted up on my fingers now. The reason the paint moves so well on my collage cards is the matte medium. Doesn't mean you can't glue anything else on there, but you're going to have trouble manipulating paint. Okay, that card's pretty crusty. I'm going to cut hundreds of them. I'm just going to throw that one away. All right, so now this is kind of really glued up. So I'm just going to fold this in half so I can still use the wax paper for a little bit of painting. Right, so we can reuse some more wax paper. All right, but before I do anything else, guys, I am going to have to, my throat's getting really scratchy. I've been here 8:30, 9:30, 3 hours. So I'm going to need to get some coffee. So hang on, guys, and my coffee's probably old. Oh, well, I'll be right back. Okay, I just got a drink of something else for a minute because I had to make fresh coffee, so I didn't want to stand down there and make coffee while y'all are sitting up here. All right. So, hey, Vicky, how you doing? We're making art cards. Oh, real quick, I wanted to show you on this. Now, I want this to be in an art journal, but I'm not going to take the time to put it in one right now, but I just want to show you something, just because it occurred to me. I don't want this one with the matte medium. Don't want the one with the paint skins. Let me find a fresh, dry palette. Let's move these out of the way. Oh, okay, the fan's not going to blow much around now. All right, so I'm just going to get out some black paint just to quickly show you. Now, this does not have matte medium on it, okay? So I cannot remove paint and move it around. I mean, like wipe it back because there's no matte medium on here. But I just wanted to show you this for just for a demo of taking an image and painting things out and making it something cool. All right, so for instance, in this case, I'm just going to get rid of all this background and just leave the watch and her hand. And just show you, I mean, this is going to take like 2 minutes as long as it's dry. Just to show you a quick little something. And just imagine that this is in your art journal or an art card if it was smaller. I'm just going to show you real quick. See, it's dry. It's already dry, so I can't move it. Magazine images are real bad about not being able to remove paint unless it's covered with the matte medium. But I just want to give you the, idea here. Okay, so let's... Any questions? Put them in caps. Okay, so it's probably going to wrinkle too because it's not glued down. But like I said, this is a sample for you. So take that, and let's just get some kind of a color. What color do I want? Let's just go with the orange because I'm probably going to pull some of these colors out anyway. All right, so I'm just going to take, whoops, wrong end. Pick up some orange. Okay, let's just put a little planet right here. Okay. A little bit of white. I'm just using the back of a brush here. And just do some. You can do this with paint pen, gel pen. Okay, we'll make one shooting star maybe right here. Okay, let me dry this. Some of those dots are probably not 100% dry, but I want to move on here. Oh, and one other thing that I saw and wanted to show that Pam put in her package to me. One grand Pam with some washi tape. I love that. So just had that sitting here with the stack. Wanted to show you. A pencil. Okay. So then what I'm going to do, can we vote B-A-DIT? I don't know what you mean. Don't know what you mean there, Prisma. Okay, so I'm just going to put a little bit of a glow around this. And because there's paint there, I can go on it with color pencil. If there's no paint on a slick magazine image, you can't color on it with color pencil. Okay, you have to have it, look, does nothing, right? It does nothing. You can't put color pencil on a slick magazine, but this has got acrylic paint all the way around it. So I'm going to fog that, put a little bit around that planet there. Maybe a little bit around some of the shooting stars. You can even put some around your hand if you want. See what I mean, Burn? But it's only where the paint is that I can apply the white pencil. So that's just taking a little thing out of a magazine, painting out the bits that you don't want. And that's why, the magazine journals that I've shown y'all, that's why that's a good practice. It helps you with your color blending. It helps with picking colors because there's already colors in the magazine imagery for you in a magazine. So it's like reverse collage. Can we nominate Bandit as our mascot? Where is my Bandit? Oh, I've already taped him up on the wall. Bandit is the mascot for the mini bar. My mascot for my studio is the sock monkeys. Those are my mascots, my sock monkeys. But Bandit is the guard of the mini bar. For those of y'all, I'm taking them off the wall. I mean, I've got them taped up here. But I'll take them down to show y'all. There's Bandit. That's Colleen, Scrap Chic's dog. His name is Bandit. Isn't that just awesome? So I got him taped up on my, actually it's my closet, because this table sits in front of my double door closet, which I can't get into, that has all my old artwork in, because this table sits in front of it, because that's all the place I have to put this right here. All my other tables are used for other things. Bye, Iffy. Weather that storm. Grand. It started with one and they've multiplied. I have many now. I have many sock monkeys now around the studio that have been gifted to me. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. You can see there's just a sample of what you can do by removing, like I removed the watch, right? Painted the background in there black. So it looks like she's almost going to grab it, right? Right out of space. Okay, so I'll end up putting that in my art journal at some point, but I'm just going to set it over here for now, out of my way. And let's get to crack-a-lacking on some of these little cards. All right, so the colors that seem to have evolved again today are the sienna, which in this case is just persimmon, but there's different ones like this. There's Georgia clay, and they're just a little bit of shade off, you know. I grab just whatever's close and play with it. I'm going to get some yellow ochre, which in this case is called antique gold. There's other ones that are literally called yellow ochre, but they're similar. It's close enough. There's another one here. This one's called spicy mustard. So, you know, there's just tons of shades of color in Americana's line. And that's really, I really like all the colors. Not only does Dede herd cats, I heard sock monkeys. Yes, that's true, Sassy Pants. Okay, so you can see how the matte medium is just peels, starts to build up, but it doesn't peel off like Eileen's tacky. You really got to scrub that stuff off. All right, so let's see what other colors I'm wanting. Probably kind of a maroon. Let me move the iPad out of the way. Some kind of in my other brochures. I don't want to, I got to move, hang on guys, I got to move some stuff because I can't get to my paint because I have so much piled up. Put it on the floor until after. What was I looking for? A maroon color. This is some antique maroon. It's kind of, it will work for a brown and a red. So I'm just putting a little bit out here of all these colors. And another thing that I do and probably don't recommend is I'll put other colors on top of other colors, on top of other colors. I just pile up the, acrylic paint. But it does make it, if you're not used to it, it does make it harder to see the colors and blend the colors. Found a bit better picture of her for a baby I talk about. Okay, well, I'll have to talk to you after the show. If you mean like you messaged me in Facebook, we'll talk after the show. Okay, so now I need Blue Harbor, which is one of my favorite gray blues. I like that, and I also like uniform blue. It's like a little bit darker of the blue. Whoa. See, this is why I wear paint shirts. I just drug my arm through that, that's fine. I don't mind it getting on my paint shirt. It's a paint shirt, but a wet paint on your shirt, you're going to be dragging it everywhere, right? So I got to at least get the bulk of that off because it'll get everywhere. Need another baby wipe. I usually roll my sleeves up a little better before I start painting, but I didn't. So let's roll it up now. That's why I have the back of my chair here is just full of art shirts. I throw one on every day. Your next sleeve cup just went. Yeah, I did. I got it. Thanks, Eugene, because it's on the table here. See, and I don't want to be dragging my projects through wet paint. So there we go. All right, so back to the uniform blue. A little bit of that. Let's move those out of the way. What other color? I got black and white. I'm going to need more white probably, but we'll see. I think those colors will be, oh, I need a little bit of a gray. Let's go with graphite. Now again, I could mix my black and white and a blue, but you know, there's so many good colors in Americana. I'll use them if I got them. Use them if you got them. No, I just rolled up my sleeve. That's fine. The shirt's got paint all over it already, but I am going to want some fresh baby wipes. And you do go through a lot of baby wipes too in this process. All right, now I need to move my collage bits off the table because that's taking up at least 1 foot of space. Move that to the side. Ugh. So right now I have, just from Stream, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 piles in my behind me. Just from here, just from streaming. Okay, tell more good colors. Hubs is going to get them for. Oh, some more good colors. Well, the thing about the colors, it's going to depend on what colors you like. I like these old world Renaissance type colors. I like these colors, but some people like bright yellow, orange, and pink. And I like that too on occasion. But my art card worlds, I don't do a lot of those colors. I'll do some garden colors, like some greens and yellows and leafy colors occasionally. But for the most part, you know, you see my art cards, they're dark. They're you know, blues, you know, grays, maroon, yellow ochre, sienna. So those are colors I like. But so again, it's going to depend on what colors you like. You're always going to need black, white. You know, you're always going to need black, white. I would suggest, I mean, I hate to suggest because you may not like that color. You may not like that yellow ochre, which that color is again called antique gold. But if antique gold is not, if they didn't have antique gold that week at Michael's, I would get a yellow ochre, the spicy mustard, or, you know, one of the other colors. So I'm not that particular, I have to say, as long as it's kind of in that family. The app I was talking about, are you talking about the Jazza Arty Party app? I want to show y'all later. It is an app. It's $2.99. You can either buy it for your computer or as an iOS app for $2.99. And it's like a challenge app. And what it does is it gives you different things. There is a color challenge is one of the challenges. I think there's 8 different challenges. One of them being a color challenge. If we don't get to it today, guys, just go to Jazz's YouTube channel, and he does a whole demo on it. I was just going to show you some of my quick doodles that I did, and you can time them: 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. You can time your challenges. You time yourself. Okay? Oh, you're just drooling over. Oh, well, good grief, guys. I'm talking about the app, and you're drooling over him. Oh my gosh. All right. So, I'm going to start with these colors. Again, I might need more if I use up that, you know, orange. So back to Vicky S that was asking me about colors. I think it was Vicky S. It scrolled off. What colors I use. Let me show you right here on my book. Here's all the colors I have. Whoops, there's my camera cord. Here's the cameras that I have just in front of me. But I also have a full cart full of Americana paints. Okay, so that's probably about, I would say maybe this is a third of my paints right there. That's probably about a third of my paints. So it's hard to recommend a color when I don't know what your favorite colors are. You want to pick colors you like if you're going to do these art cards, because you're not going to like them if you don't. Okay? Tell me, Vicky S., if you tell me some of the colors you like, I'll tell you the names of the ones I have right in front of me. I'm not going to go dig through my cart right now because I can't while I'm doing this. All right, so the first thing I do, but I'll tell you the color names if you want some color names. You tell me the colors you like. The first thing I do, which is I trim off any overlap because now they're dry. If these were not dry, I'd hit them with the heat gun. Next, I'd hit them with the heat gun. But I just turn them over, and if there's any bits hanging over, I'm going to trim it off. But you want to do this while it's dry. It's hard to cut wet paper, if any of y'all have ever tried. It's not easy to cut wet paper. But I just trim off. Most of them don't have anything hanging over the edge. A few just have a little bit. So, yeah. Oh, this one's got a little bit. You have a problem getting a good red. Well, there again, that's going to, here, my red that I'm using here, it looks almost brown. It's called Antique Maroon. It looks brown. That's the red I'm using. But I'll tell you some of the reds I have. Cherry red's good. Let me just show you a comparison. Here, that's, okay, there's 3. Okay, so here's 3 reds. I don't even know if you can tell the difference on camera. This one is cherry red. So cherry red, primary red, which I think is also has been called true red. And this one is a pink red, which is called razzleberry. Those are the 3 reds that are right in front of me, okay, other than the maroon. Then I've also got over by the purples, though. They're kind of in my purple family, even though they're kind of red. Napa red. Napa red's a good one. See now see these are gone to more to the purple side. Okay, Napa red. Cherry wine. This is one of the ones that we used doing the redder version of the painting the faux leather. And alizarin crimson. So there's 6 reds for you. Okay, and it's hard to see on camera. See, that's the other thing. Because the camera changes the colors. Hang on, that's Hubster. Hey, anything up? I'm still streaming. Hello? Okay, it was either a butt call or it was a fuzzy call. He might call back, but it was like just static. Okay. So there's those 6 reds that are all good. But it's hard to see the differentiation here on camera. Okay, hang on, guys. Let me go down and get my coffee and take this call. Can you hear me now? Hello? I finally got a hold of him, and then he got another call and had to go. So he has to call me back. All right. Told you it's going to be one of these kind of days. All right. So I don't see any caps. Oh my gosh. Girls, I'm going to just start calling y'all some cougars if y'all don't get away from jazz. Get away from jazz, ladies. Okay, so the next thing I do usually is I want to get rid of all the white. That's the next thing I do. So, and I'm not, I'm just going to kind of pick up whichever one I'm feeling like messing with at the moment. Yes, Americana will be on sale 30% off. Yeah, Hobby Lobby. Bye, Erica. Yeah, I knew that. Somebody else says, hey, Sarah. Oh, anybody else popping in? Oh, oh my gosh, Jean, you already called them that. Hang on. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, I'm still streaming. Okay, so for right now, I got more streamage time. We got more streamage time, but let me check. Okay, we're at 2 hours, so we might have to make this go into another part. If as long as things work out here, guys, again, I'm expecting family to come down, and anyway, you don't need to hear all the family doolollies. So I'm just gonna get crack-a-lacking. All right, so I'm going to start with black, and I'm going to just start blending in with my finger. If you don't like to touch paint, Jean got over herself, and now we'll touch paint. You can use a brush. I like sometimes there's tiny little areas my finger's too big to get into, right? So I have to use a brush. But I like to usually start, I'm going to need some cream color too. I like to at least start, which one do I want? Probably, okay, so I'm going to go with Mississippi Mud, kind of a sand color. No, that's too dark. I think I'm going to go with Desert Sand. I want to just a kind of an off-white. Again, I could mix that color. Come on out now. I could mix that color. Does this one dried out? There's not much left in this one. I have to get a different one out. I get another one. Another Desert Sand here. Come on, I got to get my pokey tool here. If you don't close the lids, they get a skin over them. So I could mix these colors too, or close with the basic colors. But they're $1 a jar. You can get tons of colors. Okay, yes, they're the Americana. Okay, so again, here's kind of a cream color. I want to just kind of go over that and kind of blend that in. I don't want to lose all that, but I'm kind of making kind of like a horizon line there. Whoops. I might need to, let's see if I can refocus the camera. That's pretty good. So I'm working off of 2 fingers here. So I hope you can see how you can just blend in the edges with the colors that you've picked. If y'all have any questions, just put them in caps. It's the same thing I do all the time. You quote a lot of TV. Terry Trouble. You're so funny, Terry. Okay, so, and even if I'm putting this black right now, I'm going to show you that it doesn't have to stay that way. You can, I was going to say fold in like a like a recipe. You can fold in some other colors. We're going to fold in some other colors. But there you go. You can see how it's already starting to look like something. Oh my goodness. All right, so let's go to this one. Again, I'm going to at least get rid of the white. Even if I put black on here, that it doesn't have to stay that way. It can, acrylic paint is easily covered over with other colors, right? Uh, and see, I can't really get a straight line right there because my finger's just not small enough. So, keep a couple brushes handy. Where's a smaller one? Uh, that one's kind of too small. Um, where's the smaller one? I just had a smaller. Oh, here we go. So, if you want to get right up on an edge or something, your finger's just not that small, right? Cupcakes, anyone? I know. All right, so kind of like that. Now I'm going to turn it over so I can get over on this side. I'm just going to go down this side here. And I just like mysterious looking things, like little worlds, caves, planets, stars, all the things that you see me using all the time. I like those things, but you might be a garden person or, you might like whatever on yours. So don't feel like they have to be outer space and water and stars and, caves and underworld or sea. Sea worlds are good too. I've done a few of those. Okay, so now I'm going to take some of this blue. I just want some blue up here. And I'm not sure if I want to keep that as a nice even horizon. I kind of like the way that looks. So I'm going to put some blue. I'm going to put a little bit of white. If you don't over mix your colors, you can get some cool effects. If you just kind of almost mix them on your finger. Now, here's a good example. Let me just show you this real quick. I'm going to go right across that moon, which I may end up putting clouds across. But I want to show you, because this is covered with matte medium, I can take my baby wipe and totally wipe away that paint. See? It's because of the matte medium I'm able to do that. And look right here. See where the white and blue is not mixed? See how it just gives it some more extra effects? You can't hardly do that on purpose. It's almost like you got to have it, let it serendipitously happen. It's just like trying to paint an exact cloud. Every cloud's going to be different. I know it does. A little paint makes a difference. So now I'm going to come down here with my maroon and some of the yellow. Okay, so I got two colors. Now, when I come across here, see how that looks? It's like it stays marbleized. So see how quickly that's blended in? That just blended right into that dirt or world or landscape or whatever you want to call it. See? It's just blended. It's already blended in. Nothing else has to be done right there. Except get rid of that little bit of white right there. It's a little white dot. There we go. So you see? This is just the initial part. This is just me getting rid of the white. Okay? So now I'm going to set this one aside and go on to another one. Where's the first one? Okay. They're not done. This is just getting rid of the white. So, and I usually do this pretty quickly. I usually, get this part done pretty fast. And I'll show you can scrape paint with palette knives and cards to make it have textures and whatever. Okay, so look, I picked up a little bit of yellow right there. Now, if I just go like that, see, it just gives it, that's an accident, but leave it. Okay, so I'm going up here. Just getting rid of the white. But remember, that was a piece of star chart. If I cover it up too much, take the baby wipe and just blend it, get rid of it. And again, guys, I'm just talking my process out. It's really not a hard, fast rule for any of this. There's not a hard, fast rule. I would think I'm the bee's knees. You girls. So maybe I want a little bit of, I'll take a little bit of the uniform blue and kind of maybe just like kind of mix a little bit in with the black, not over mix. Just kind of keep it like, see? Let some things just happen. All right, so I'm gonna let this one sit up while see, there's still stuff to blend and stuff here, but I'm getting rid of the bulk of the white. And this is what happens real fast. That's why I'll probably go through 20 baby wipes just in this session. I've probably already gone through 10, and that's not including the ones that I had to clean my sleeve off with. This is why the craft scrubby is nice at the end of the day, right? But you have to have clean baby wipes. Otherwise, you're just moving paint. It's just like going to make mud. If you want to blend paint, you have to have a clean spot on the baby wipe. But it starts piling up on my hands too, and then I'm making a mess over everything. So I just stop and just get the bulk of it off, and then go again. Okay, another baby wipe. Now I just keep one handy. All right, let's go to this one. Let's put some gray in this one. I thought I put it, oh, there it is. So I'm going to go with gray and black on this one. And they kind of bend a little bit, you can see, but not too much for being, fairly thin cards. So I just want to get rid of the black. I mean the white. But at the same time, I'm looking at the other colors in it and deciding, what else I want, other color-wise. All right, so I'm going to want to round that off, so I can't do that with my finger very easily. So I'm going to come in here with a brush and round that off just a little. Now, I got it too much. I got too much paint on there, but because it's got matte medium on it, I can take my baby wipe and just round that back in. Because it'll wipe away. Okay, so I touched it right there, so let me go back. Now maybe down here, I might want another, let's go with the blue. So I'm going to pick up some blue and white. There's already a little bit of black still on my finger. Okay, so I'm just going to drag that across. And just try this stuff, guys. Just try it and see what happens. Look. Okay. Come back over here, and I'll probably want to, feather out some kind of an edge on that, almost like that could be a cave right there. Do that with some color pencil, maybe. All right, so you see where I got the black right there? The old baby wipe. And I'll probably put some water. Let me just kind of show you real quick what I mean. I'll probably take some water here and probably end up putting some too much right there. I don't want all that. See? Just start. Bye, Grant, one and only Grant. Thanks again, Pam, for the awesome happy mail. Very sweet. Thanks so much for sharing. If y'all missed it, I did a happy mail on the video before this one. Okay, so now I'm also going to put stars and some clouds. Now you do want to make sure this is dry, because otherwise I'll be making gray clouds. So if I want white clouds, you got to dry it. So let me go ahead and hit this with the heat gun. Just so maybe I want some kind of clouds or some fog or smog, or well, not smog, but mist. So I'm just going to drag some across there. And, you know, sometimes your fingers are too big to get the tiny bits. Just go in there with the paintbrush. You can get a little bit of, you know, tinier detail that you can't get. And maybe, I don't know, maybe we want this to come. Maybe right up in here in this cloud, there's another little red planet